Welcome everyone, Questine here with the discussion about Malakai Makaisen's campaign in Total War Warhammer 3, Immortal, Empires, Thrones of Decay. And what a campaign this one is turn 45. I've got a few problems over here on my hands, really. Like 3 armies under Warzak coming here, maybe even 5 really, yeah there's 5, jeez. 5 armies under Warzak, 2 under Vlad, 3, no, 2, really. 1.5. 4, 5, and he's got the Nemesis crown. Jeez. You know, I thought I would just march this army and go help, just go deal with some problems, but then it's like, yeah, the Nemesis crown is kind of a bit harder to spot than the Sword of King, because that's got like the red aura of death around it. I mean, it's probably not quite as powerful. I would not want to deal with Vlad with the Sword of Cain. Let me just put it like that. But the Nemesis Crown, pretty crazy stuff. Especially because it's not an item that occupies a slot. So, this situation is gonna be very interesting. Oh, and if you think the rest of my empire is in a good situation, kind of. To the east, we have Grimgor and Tamarkan, who's like I've been fighting, and I did defeat Tamarkan over here, but other worries with Grimgor. Oh, had to fight Azak, who was burning things. The Skaven are on the march over here in the south, and yeah. And in the north, you start in Krakadrak, and that means you deal with the Zazel, Trog, Frot from early on, and then you've got every faction over here except Boris Ursus, who's kind of destined to die in the vast majority of campaigns, hating you. You eliminate one, you just made the other one stronger. Like, for instance, over here, I eliminate the Malice Darkblade. Sigvald is got a free reign here. Sigvald and his vassals, and he's coming. In Nagrand, where I confederate Grombrindle, it's complicated because Valkia is about to be wiped out by Hellebron. That's fun. So Grombrindle's got a hell of a fight on his hands in this situation. Be'lakor is about to crash landing against my army. I can probably defeat him though, it's relatively easier, but still. This campaign is something. See, you're kind of pushed in a situation where you want to expand the North because now it's all mountains and frozen climate, and both of those work for you. Problem is, Norska is kind of indefensible, and you've got a lot of opponents in the north, and you've got a lot of objectives to south, because if you ignore the other dwarves, they're going to be wiped out. I mean, Forgrim got wiped out in this campaign. It's all Queek, Skarsnik, and freaking Warzak. Unram is holding on for now, however long. Belagar is doing okay. Grombrindle did okay, but yeah, Forgrim is gone. What about... Jeez... Well, Forik is alive. I confederated him. So, I'm fighting with a lot of armies on a lot of fronts, and it's like, anyone who says dwarves are OP don't understand the biblical level of enemies that you will have to fight in a dwarf campaign to be powerful. So, that's something worth pointing out about this. So, let's talk about Malakai. First things first, he's got the Spirit of Grungni airship attached to his army. You start a campaign with Gotrek and Felix, so you don't have heroes, regular heroes by default. You get Gotrek, which gives you training, so you can replace a Thane in your army. You get Felix, who gives you replenishment, so you can replace a Demon Slayer, which is also going to have, or a Giant Slayer that's going to have replenishment. And also you can really easily get Gargrim Iron Fist. You just need to get 8 Slayer units. You can also get him fairly easily if you're playing Ungrim's campaign. I'll talk about Ungrim in a separate video, but suffice to say, I think he benefits quite a lot from this DLC. So, with Malakai's army, if we look at the Lord effects, he has access to Spirit of Grungni airship buildings. He gets the deranged ability, deranged munitions ability, some magical attacks, armor, piercing missile damage, base missile damage from one ally in range, including himself, pretty sure. He gets 20% missile strength for artillery and flying war machines. Pretty sweet. The Spirit of Grungni is an army ability that summons it in battle. Initially, it will degrade in time, but you can get an upgrade to prevent that. It's not a Lord skill, it's an upgrade in the airship. So this is like a Vampire Coast Legendary Lord Horde army. You do have regular settlements, but Malakai himself has the Spirit of Gurugni. Now, the Spirit of Gurugni can recruit miners with blasting charges at tier 1. You can recruit Slayers and Slayer Pirates at tier 2, and also Dragon Slayer tier 2. You can also get extra capacity for Dragon Slayers with every tier until tier 4. You can get Doom Seekers and Giant Slayers. So you can recruit all the Slayer units except Goblin Hewers, which are manned by Slayers. You can increase capacity for heroes. And you have a really powerful Thunder Barge that you can also upgrade with improved engine output at tier 3 to no longer disengage. All the structures here, when you build them initially, they do require surplus points, and it's probably worth it to save those surplus points to upgrade the main building. And also get a couple of things like, getting that disengage capability. The shooting gallery is useful. Pretty sure you need the shooting gallery for Ulrika in this campaign. Could be wrong. You get storage hold to increase crew capacity, so these are the kind of buildings you want. Engine power to keep it in battle and campaign movement range. You start with the barracks, so no problem there. Shooting gallery for experience in Ulrika, if I'm not mistaken. I could look at the mission. Where's all that? Yeah. So amass treasury. Yeah, so you need to get the shooting gallery if you're going to do this with Ulrika. Is she worth it? I mean, she is pretty solid, especially with the range buff. Maybe not the most powerful legendary hero in the game, but she gets the job done. You start with the cannon unit, you start with Doom Seekers, and you have a significant amount of power in this campaign. So let's talk about the campaign mechanics, his unique campaign mechanics. So he gets that recruit rank and upkeep benefits for artillery and flying units. He has Gotrek and Felix, and he has those adventures. Lord effect-wise, I've covered what his Lord effects do. He gets Recruitment Master Engineer in all provinces, hero capacity to Master Engineers. He has Slayer benefit, so upkeep, weapon strength, missile strength for all Slayers faction-wide. Casualty replenishment and reload time reduction for artillery and flying war machines. Ammunition, artillery master, reload time reduction. Architect, so construction time for military support buildings, construction cost. Horde building construction cost reduction. And further upgrades to the range munitions and range. He's pretty strong in ranged. He's also a Slayer. So he gets extremely daring death blow. He gets deadly onslaught. He's got the Slayer's ability of Tapestry of Oaths. So he's going to get weapon strength and missile strength for Slayers, missile resistance, and casualty replenishment upkeep for Slayers. So you can really make Slayers work quite well for him. By the way, Demon Slayers and Unram also get this skill line. So just got to point that out. Now let's talk about those adventures. They're not grudges. So the way the adventures work is you start one, a couple of turns in, you start one. When you start one, you'll get a couple of units for free. The Skaven scheme is unlocked. You need to do 3 others to get the Skaven scheme. And you can do multiple adventures at the same time. So you can start an adventure and then you do get a couple of turns cooldown. But when that cooldown expires, you spend the money and you get a couple of units. So you can get free gyrocopters. You can get Goblin Hewers. You can get gyro bombers, flame cannons, organ guns. The first one you want to do is obviously the cannons. You have various benefits. Now, the way this works is you get a bunch of campaign objectives. So, kill 800 enemies with cannon units, fight 1 battle with cavalry units, all that kind of stuff, right? And these will give you various upgrades for these units. So, cannons gain Grape Shot, which Elspeth also has, but you get reload time, unit experience, recruit rank. That's how this works. You also have battles against Elves. Does that mean you have to make your way towards Emmerich? No, there's going to be a bunch of events spawning on the map, so the cannon one will take place largely in in the Mountains of Hell, you'll get some like rogue high elven armies. It won't be armies, like there'll be markers. Think of like the wood elf markers where, you know, an army is spawning, but they won't spawn until you go there. So you get these various objectives. You also have like a dilemma. So for instance, right now I'm in the Skaven one, and I get a dilemma to go over here, trigger this event. So yeah, there's some stuff fairly far away. To go over the details, so each scheme is targeting a particular enemy. So this one's targeting Chaos Dwarf, so it's probably going to be taking place in a Chaos Dwarf location. The greenskin stuff is happening in the Battlelands, various locations. Then there's like rogue armies, there's like events that spawn armies, and then there's actual rogue armies that do spawn. So combination of things that give you various benefits, and all of these culminate in a massive battle against an enemy. So I have unlocked the greenskin one. You need to do 3 objectives to unlock that. You can unlock the other stuff later on. So for instance, right here, I've still got one thing to do with the greenskins. Haven't completed, so I just got to defeat this army, but I'm also working on the Skaven one. Now, why is the Skaven one blocked off? 1, because it's far away from your location. 2, because when you do unlock it, you get those units for free. So cannons, organ guns, that's already powerful enough. The Skaven one gives you thunder barges. Free thunder barges that have no upkeep and no cost to recruit. All the units are recruited for free, but all the other units except thunder barges do cost upkeep. So organ guns you get, cannons you get are going to cost upkeep, thunder barges don't. Thunder barges are otherwise acquired from a tier 5 settlement. By the way, I've been running around so much on this campaign map that I literally haven't been able to upgrade Crocodrock, but they cost a lot, 700 upkeep to maintain. They're pretty damn expensive. So you do get 3 of these, but you're going to need every single one of them. I have fought the Skaven battle, and not in a separate campaign, but I fought it because you can fight it for the quest battle menu. I have fought it. You will need those thunder barges. So basically, each of these grudges gives you significant upgrades for these units. So you can get gyro bombers, gyrocopters, goblin hero benefits. What do I say is worth it? Well, gyrocopters are certainly strong right now, especially brimstone guns and trollhammer torpedoes that you guys get from the Age of Reckoning. Probably wouldn't focus too much on that though. Goblin heroes, they've got limited ammunition. And they've got 0 armor, so they'll take a lot of damage. But you do have a lot of replenishment for that, but I wouldn't say this is a priority. Organ guns are pretty easy to actually do. Okay, so let me explain. So obviously it's going to take place in some climates. So the Chaos Dwarf is going to take place in Darklands, Greenskins in the Battlelands. Vampires, probably in Sylvania or Silver Pinnacle, it doesn't matter. But yeah, you fight in areas with vampiric corruption. Flame cannons take place in this area. So basically you go beat up the Elves of Lorem Forest as well as other locations for that. And you fight a battle against Malevolent Treekin. Not regular Treekin, Malevolent Treekin. Yeah. But you get better flame cannons and you get 3 of them for free. So you're going to be burning them to cinder. Organ guns, you can do this pretty quickly, and it gives you a bunch of really powerful high-end demonic armies to fight here. So really seek Gotrek's doom. Like I would call Malakai's adventures Gotrek and Felix adventures. Yeah, killing 1,600 enemies with thunder barges sounds easy enough, but yeah, let's just say there's some brutal stuff that you got to complete over here in order to succeed in terms of these objectives. So the Skaven leader force, like just this idea, it's a rank 30 lord, rank 12, and you still have another campaign. This might be really good for Realms of Chaos because you get all these objectives that you can do. Realms of Chaos can suck, but you do have a good climate situation. So you get frozen, you get mountains, you get wasteland, and savanna. So you do have climates that dwarves typically care about, in like mountains and frozen in particular, in wasteland. So that does work quite well. Whereas, by the way, the only other legendary lords that have frozen are Ungrim and Grumbrindle in a dwarf campaign. And that's his principal campaign mechanic in his campaign. It's quite a lot of fun. You get a bunch of enemies to beat up. But the thing is, because of your starting position, you're going to be under a lot of pressure throughout your campaign, unless you war source to someone who wins against Archaon. By the way, in this campaign, I did defeat Archaon's principal army, and I left him alive because I had other things to worry about, and I thought like Borosaurus, with control of all this territory, and Archaon, with just down to his last element, would be able to win. I was wrong. And now I'm paying the price. I'm going to have to emergency recruit a lot of stuff over here in order to... Well, stop it. Like, my regiments right now are taxed to full, and yeah, things are dicey as hell over here. So that's the principal mechanic that Malakai has to deal with. He does have a pretty powerful hero squad that you get access to. You don't need to put a Thane or a Dragon Slayer in this army. Dragon Slayers give replenishment, by the way. Well, let's talk about that. So yeah, Malakai's unique campaign mechanics, pretty solid, pretty good, pretty fun. Now, let's talk about Dragon Slayers and Demon Slayers and the new units. So this is Demon Slayer, the Army Lord. He has this particular skill line which gives ward save against demons, fear, terror, melee attack, more ward save, glorious death, so he cannot die, affects allies in range if target unit is a Slayer. Bonus versus large, bonus versus infantry, yeah, melee attack. And then he has the Slayer skill line that all Slayer Lords have, including Malakai and Unram. The Dragon Slayer, also, like, talking about his skill, like, he's very good against infantry as well. Talking about the Dragon Slayer, he's bonus versus... both of them have really good armor piercing, but he does have a good bonus versus large. Ward save, melee defense, ward foe. Terror causing is in range, causes fear. Corruption, weapon strength, bonus versus large, charge bonus, weapon strength, colossal strike. And he has replenishment. And then he has a choice between weapon strength, missile resistance, and speed. I'd probably go with missile resistance. And then, yeah, full melee skill line that has Foe Seeker, Deadly Onslaught. How are they recruited? That's probably one of the things some people are not going to like. You do have, like, let's talk about, actually, Carcadron has been slaughtered here, but you can get a Giant Slayer early on in a Carcadron campaign. Otherwise, you have to get the Slayer Shrine to just recruit them. Capacity increases at tier 4. It's the only hero that increases capacity at tier 4. You don't really need that many, and there's other ways to increase casualty replenishment. It kind of sucks that you require tier 4 settlement in order to increase your casualty replenishment per army, but here's the thing. You won't strictly feel it as much, and I'm pretty like Malakai does keep his airship pretty sure if you confederate him, and you can also get Grumbrindle. Like, Malakai won't die so easily, so you might not confederate him early on, but yeah, casualty replenishment is not something as much of an issue as it was before with the dwarves. Still some issues, but you know, you can get the Dragon Slayer pretty quickly in your campaign. You can abuse Tamarkan's trait if you really want to, so it's not really as much of a problem. The major issue is requiring that tier 3 settlement to just recruit him, but Unram does get one pretty quickly. The other ones, well, dwarves have post-battle replenishment options, so if I go over here, let's say, I probably cannot resolve this because I've got a lot of power, but, and yeah, just Norse goods by the looks of it. You do have a replenishment post-battle option as the dwarves. And the melee units you want to recruit, like Slayers, do get that extra replenishment. So you want a Demon Slayer to lead a Slayer army. Otherwise, not quite sure he's worth it compared to a Rune Lord or a regular Dwarf Lord. Just my perspective. You also get a Legendary Grudge Lord, by the way, for killing... Wait, how did I get that? That was from Malakai, Morathi, and Helbra. Bit weird, but anyway. Or was it for just Morathi and... Or was it for just Morathi and... No. Yeah, so that's bugged. That's a bit bugged. Anyway. Beyond that, let's talk about the units and how they are recruited over here in a campaign. So you get Thunderers with Grudge Rakers, so low range. These are basically the equivalent of blunderbusses. So compared to regular Thunderers, lower range but far more damage. That's how they are. That's how they work. exactly the same stats otherwise, right? Well, range, obviously range is different, but in other respects, it's pretty much the exact same stats. Same leadership, same armor, same model count between Thunderers and Grudgerakers. These guys are far more powerful in close range, but there's still a value in Thunderers from long range, because you can kill a lot of stuff with regular Thunderers from long range. Slayer Pirates, think of... the best way I could put this is like, think of Aranessa, Sartosa, Free Company, or Free Company Militia in a Slayer form. So no armor, a lot more damage, or maybe like just a dwarf version of Man-Eaters with sword and pistol. And that's what you're getting over here. They can fire while moving, they're fast for a dwarf. They don't have a lot of ammunition, but they're pretty solid in melee. They're still a Slayer unit. And Slayers now have Death Blow, or extremely daring Death Blow, dependent on what we're talking about. Then you have Doomseekers at tier 4. They do take 2 turns to recruit. You do get Death Blow. You get Whirlwind of Death. This is a bit questionable, I would say, because you first need to unlock it. So you need to engage in melee, first and foremost. It might not start recharge. So like you might have to engage in melee a bit, then you can use it. But outside of that, yeah, they have Unbreakable Slayers. All Slayers have the same thing in terms of like not losing weapon strength. There's a Regiment Renowned version of these guys. So if we look at Slayer Pirates compared to regular Slayer Pirate, Slayer Pirates, it's just roughly the same units, just a couple of benefits. So you get Dwarf Rum, reducing melee attack. You still have Death Blow. You get Slayer Spell Resistance, Resilience. So yeah, it's mostly the same unit, just better stats with the long drawn Slayer Pirates. The Grim Delvers versus the regular Grudgerakers, yeah, again, just better units, less missile strength, but they do have Frenzy, Vanguard deployment over there, so they've got better morale. Vanguard deployment, Strider, and I'm pretty sure, like, if we look at the number of projectiles, yeah, it's the same number of projectiles. We're that they do less damage, but they do have that Vanguard deployment and Strider ability, so I'm supposing they're supposed to, like, keep moving with them. And yeah, especially because of stock, yeah, that's clear. Like, that's a skirmisher unit. They'll do better melee. They'll survive better. They won't break quite as easily. But I'm not sure if these guys are necessarily worth using that much. I mean, it's just a Regiment Renown. It's still going to be pretty solid. So base missile damage. Oh, the base missile damage. That's so bizarre, CA. That's really so damn freaking bizarre. Over there. So these guys reload a bit faster, but these guys actually do more damage, quite a bit more damage per shot. So yeah, just one of those weird ones with regards to that. Then you have the Brotherhood of Grimnir versus these guys, just slightly better stats, and also what else? Just looking at that. No, just better stats with respect to these guys, as well as, yeah, endless Whirlwind of Death as opposed to just Whirlwind of Death. So just a better ability right there, but still Death Blow. Magical attacks on both of them, but just more damage, just a better unit. Thunder Barges, let's talk about that in the Spirit of Grungni with respect to that. So Thunder Barges and Spirit of Grungni have virtually the same stats, at least on the screen, except Spirit of Grungni has 2,000 more HP. So yeah, there is a difference. However, I think like the actual difference between these units is not necessarily reflected on the stat screen as well, at all. Like Spirit of Grungni has Slayers shooting the guns from, like, because here's the thing about Thunder Barge. What I kind of dislike about like how the stat screens work. So the Thunder Barge has various abilities. Like, it will drop bombs automatically when it's hovering over a target. People talk about like, oh, it's too fast, but it's like a lot of the damage actually goes from it being right above the enemy and dropping bombs on them. So you can outrun it. Like, even when it's burning alcohol, you can outrun it. Sure, the dwarves are going to shoot with grudge rakers with their guns. The difference between Spirit of Grogny and Thunder Barges is you got Slayer Gunners, who I think may do more damage, but not quite entirely 100% certain. Regardless, both of them are fairly strong. Spirit of Grogny is more durable and has those Slayers. It has that Slayer theme to it. By the way, Thunder Barges in the lore are far bigger than what the game reflects here. Like, they're supposed to be a lot bigger. Like, they should have enough space, like Spirit of Grogny in particular should have enough space for gyrocopters. Certainly not the case in-game. Bit of a shame with the scaling there, but we've seen that, you know, since Warhammer 1 with giants. Like, giants are supposed to be a lot bigger, for instance. But yeah. But Thunder Barges do damage in 3 ways. 4 ways, actually. You've got the cannons, the 2 cannons. You've got the harpoon, which is a 1-use ability. So you got a big harpoon that can do a lot of damage to a single target. You got the bombs, and you got, yeah, so gunners, guns, bombs, harpoon. So 4 ways of doing damage, not necessarily reflected in the stat screen over here. Fairly durable, very expensive unit, very powerful unit. With respect to how the Thunder Barges work. Goblin here, I admit, not really fond of it. Like, you look at it, it is unbreakable. It does have a decent level of HP for 4 units. It says it does a lot of damage, but in reality, I tested it out. I'm not quite sold on that. But it is decent enough in melee. Like, it's got, like, you compare it to, you know, say, let's go with a regular Slayer unit, right? You may notice that in terms of melee stats, speed, melee attack, all that, it's pretty good, right? With respect to that. Like, obviously, Doom Seekers are going to be better. And it will do some damage in melee. It does have an anti-large benefit. So it's like, basically, this thing is more or less a Slayer unit on an artillery piece. That's how you can define it as, really. Pros and cons with that. I don't really care much for it. Because with artillery, like, yeah, I would rather get this overpowered organ guns personally. But that's just me. I'm sure there will be an use of it. Let me know what you guys think about that particular unit. And outside of that, the final thing to talk about is Garrigram Iron Fist, the legendary hero, the new legendary hero. Can be easily unlocked in a Malakai campaign or an Unram campaign. Less so for other campaigns. In fact, when you're playing other campaigns, it's likely Ungram's going to get them first. Because Ungram starts with the ability of recruiting Slayers, and you only need 8 Slayers to get them. You can get them, by the way, for Confederation, even if you don't own the DLC, because, yeah, he's going to get them. You get Slayer's Son, so you get Hurricane of Death, so he's getting that Whirlwind ability. He gets melee attack for all Slayer units in his army. He gets construction cost, recruitment cost for Slayer speed. So basically Ungram's faction effect just on a local level for that. Worthy Foe, Fear, Terror, Slayer upkeep benefit, experience for his army. War Mourner, so magical attacks, base weapon damage, armor piercing damage for all allies in range, weapon strength for Slayers, hit points, and Slayer of Legend. Slayer of Legend, weapon damage, armor piercing damage, melee attack. He gets extremely daring death blow. And he gets all the Slayer skills. Like a Giant Slayer would normally get a choice of this, he can get all of them. And he still has replenishment. So, even though Dragon Slayers are hard to get... Dragon Slayers, even if Dragon Slayers, Giant Slayers, whatever, they're... Yeah, I mean, I could get confused there. But even though Dragon Slayers can be hard to get, you do have the ability of getting Argrim, you do have the ability of getting Felix, so you can get really free casualty replenishment relatively early on in your campaign. Free casualty replenishment heroes relatively early on in a campaign. And that's good. That can help a lot of the early game issues, and later on your victory condition gives you hero capacity in dwarf campaigns. So that's one way of solving replenishment. Like, I'm stressing out, I haven't felt the casualty replenishment problem, as I did pre-patch, because I certainly did pre-patch. Mod on mod, it doesn't matter. Now I'm feeling the grudge situation. Even though there's a lot of people that need killing over here. Holy crap, that's That's a lot of grudges that we need to solve. Not sure if this army is going to be able to defeat Vlad with that freaking Nemesis count. But we're going to be killing a lot of things. Nice thing about Malakai is that he can put in camp stance with no penalty. So you're really going on an adventure. You can traverse the Chaos Wastelands and not really suffer from it. Obviously, it's better with Boris, because his entire army just flat out doesn't take attrition, but you have a lot of flexibility over there in that campaign. You have a powerful artillery army, you have significant benefits for all artillery and more machine units in general. And it really feels like Gotrek and Felix the adventure campaign in this one. Even if it's called Malakai's Adventures, I don't care about that. You start with Gotrek and Felix. That's really how I'm gonna define it. And I think it's a really fun campaign. Personally, like I've certainly enjoyed, like, out of the campaigns in the DLC, I've enjoyed this one the most. But it's not just because of the campaign adventures, though. I think, like, in ROC, this is probably the best campaign by far of all campaigns in ROC, in Realms of Chaos. Maybe the only one that's actually worth a damn playing in Realms of Chaos, from an actual fun factor, not testing factor. Because I played a lot of campaigns with DLC in Realms of Chaos just to test things. They weren't great. This is different. But then you gotta understand that what makes this campaign work, I think, is the fact that you got the grudges, legendary grudges, grudge meter. So you're incentivized to adventure around the world. Your starting positions complicates your campaign plans in general. So you are powerful, but you got a lot of things on your plate to deal with. And I like that. One of the things I've said for a long time is Alifenar has one of the best campaigns. The reason is it's a hard campaign. You got a lot of foes, but you got all the tools needed to deal with them. Same with Malakai. That would be my perspective. I'll do a full review when we're closer to release for all of these guys and for the DLC in general. But for me, you know, just personal perspective, like, I've enjoyed this a lot. Quite happy with the dwarves, quite happy with Malakai. It's fairly thematic, it works. I was not sure how I would feel about the Slayer Gunner hero, but you'd be surprised. You might fight a battle and Malakai is actually going to be the highest damage dealer by far. Like, look at his missile strength. He's got 3.7k missile strength. An idea, a Thunder Barge has 1.4k, and I'm pretty sure that 1.4k is counting the bombs. Like to give you a notion, you fight battles of Malakai and he literally sits there in a safe part and he keeps shooting, he keeps shooting, and everything he shoots at just freaking dies. You gotta love this guy. He's a maniac. Well, so much for your glorious doom, Malakai. You gotta feel bad for him. He's a failure of a slayer, but damn, if it's not glorious. That's all I had to say. Let me know what you guys think about all of this. We'd like to hear your opinions. And yeah, this campaign, I think I'm gonna start from Decay campaign coverage by starting a new campaign as this. Maybe doing things in a different way, because this is not what I wanted to happen here at all. Though maybe I'll start my campaign coverage by trying to survive this, because power or not, there's a lot of people to kill over here. Stay tuned for more.